Please leave a message after the
Yes, guys, it's gaming addiction, which is now being classed as a mental illness. Now, I definitely want you guys' thoughts on this. Very controversial. There's always been talks about game addiction, just like many addictions, gambling addiction, stuff like that. But I think gaming addiction has been a bit more frowned upon. So I actually want you guys' opinion. Do you actually think this can be classed as a mental debilitation, gaming addiction? Or it should be, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's, too much of anything, it would be dubbed as an addiction. So I think at the end of the clip, and he mentioned 80. You could do up to 88 hours. As he said, if anyone's doing anything up to 88 hours a week, that's an addiction. As a mental
disease.
That's the thing. Like a mental disease. I mean, I just think it's just the labels are getting too powerful in that way. I mean, obviously, if someone. I wouldn't really class anyone that has quote unquote a mental disease to equate that to like from schizophrenia to like, hey, I like to play Zelda too much. It's just like that's. I mean, I think it's a false equivalency there. I think once you start to establish labels, then you're adding power to this, and perhaps some credence. I don't want to just make fun of people who've got this.
I can see you backing away.
I'm trying
you were trying to back away.
I'm trying to like I don't want some kids crying at me saying like I got a problem. Like,
Stanley, I actually heard that you actually had gaming disease disorder. Is that?
Oh my god!
Is this true, Stanley? The rumors of the man of mystery was a gaming
the
addict.
weakest of all diseases.
I think, to be fair, I think you're the biggest gamer out of all three of us. Is that true?
Probably, I think so.
How many hours? How many hours we're talking?
Well, this is the thing. Like, there might be a week where I've done maybe 3 or 4 hours.
3 out of 4 hours.
So let's say,
you call yourself a true gamer.
Oh my god!
3 or 4 hours in a week. I'm not a massive gamer.
So let's say, I mean, an addiction would be like your girl's kissing up on your neck, and you're playing it, and you're like, get off me, man.
Do you know what? I've never been in that situation. You see it on TV or that kind of cliche situation where a guy is more focused on the game than his girl. I've never been in that situation before. Like, you got to keep the two separate for me.
Yeah.
Like, when it's time to game, it's time to game.
You're right. I agree, Stan. You're tacitly saying that the games are far more interesting than the women. So yeah, I agree.
Sometimes, yeah.
All right, but getting back on point.
But I was just about to say, just to get back to point.
The game disease.
To use the word disease is a bit weird. I mean,
is it because it's getting more popular? Is that why we're using disease? More people are getting it, so now it's not just a small thing; it's a disease.
No,
with the label?
I think it's more to do with the times we're living in, where essentially, we kind of everything gets blown up. So, things that in the past people weren't too bothered about it. For example, what you define yourself as. Are you an Apache helicopter? Are you a female? Are you a male? For example, I think it's just a situation where we actually we make a big deal out of everything. But at the same time, with games like Fortnite coming into the fray, Fortnite, for listeners that don't know, is like a massive multiplayer game that is kind of taking the world.
And that's free to play as well, isn't it?
And it's free to play as well.
There's no pay barrier.
You know what? Gaming's been around for... It's not as if it just came out last week. This has been around for ages. I remember, Championship Manager. You'd be playing for hours.
Jody,
and then when it is
Jody, I don't like the way you're talking.
Yeah, come on.
Because there's a difference between Space Invaders
come on,
and God of War.
Championship Manager used to tell you signs like, you've been playing this game. It'll count the hours. And after like 2 days, they were like, you've been playing this game for 48 hours.
What game was this?
You need to have a bath. It was telling you that you're addicted to this game.
That?
It's Championship Manager.
You're lying.
Honestly, it said
No.
voicemail clips. There'll be loads of Championship Manager fans. He'll be telling you the same thing as like, have you left the house for a few days?
All games.
Like,
really?
Championship Manager.
That actually doesn't surprise me because I know a lot of guys. I never got into Football Manager, but I know guys that did, and
sure,
it took over their lives basically.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know that too, but I never heard them say that the game's telling me I need to take a bath.
Yeah, it would make fun of you. It would say like how many hours you've been playing. So if you've been playing up to beyond, so it would go up, and then next thing you know, you've been playing the equivalent of 7 days.
I am really impressed.
And then it would just say more and more about how addicted you are to the game. But it was making fun. But it was making like, you were like, holy shit. And then because you're walking around the house, pacing up and down the kitchen like you're Jose Mourinho on a touchline. Like, you're like, come on. Telling people about your tactics and no one cared. But it's a wonderful game.
So Football Manager cared about your well-being
Yeah, the creators
more
need
than
to,
Nintendo.
it did laugh at you.
They need to win a social responsibility prize. or
Exactly.
something, like, because Nintendo don't do that.
Well, they did on the Wii. There was that warning
did they?
sign about hazardous. And actually, to be fair, because I'm a Nintendo fanboy, I'll completely.
I
admit
love
that.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah, but they did put some warnings on the DS, the 3DS. They did eye on it, so I can't hate on them. But to be honest, my thoughts on the whole gaming addiction situation is that I guess it's possible. I have to admit that when it comes to MMORPGs, multiplayer, multi-man, I can't even break down the abbreviation, but multiplayer online role-playing games where you just become a character, you live in this world, like this Game of Thrones world, and you mine, you meet people, you get married, you live a life within a life. You know what I mean? I had a taste of that, and it truly was addictive.
What game are you gonna say?
It was called The Legend of Mer. It was one of the. It was see how old I am. This was not popular. This was way before World of Warcraft. This was 2001.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't take off. It
You
got
sound
even
like a
before-
massive geek right now.
Even before World of Warcraft.
you
right?
asked. You asked.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it honestly, it was so addictive and it scared the hell out of me. I thought, you know what? I'm getting out of my real life and brushing my teeth in this fake game. And it's making me feel great. This ain't right. And and I don't want to
That
go on
is
this.
both
It's
funny
sad.
and sad
Yeah,
at
it
the
is.
same time.
And
but
I
yeah,
realized that, and I got out. But a lot of people there's some people actually know to this day
Yeah.
that is a routine. They finish work, they log on. That's it. And I know they made that recent movie, and what's it called? The Steven Spielberg one that just came out, Ready Player
Ready
One.
Player One.
Ready Player
Yeah,
One.
the
You know
whole
what?
book about
That's
that.
I you know what though? I actually feel sad for those guys who, if anyone makes fun of them there, because
Sure.
so people need to express themselves in certain ways. Not everyone can be an extrovert and do well,
I wouldn't-
basically. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you could do it via a game, and then you're like, this is a world that I feel comfortable in. I was like, well, okay, well,
Yeah.
do your thing.
Yeah.
But they're damaging their outside life, their social.
I mean, it's not going to change. I mean, that's not going to.
But what does it say that the medical association are recognizing that this is a real problem and you've got a disease that needs cure? And we heard about the Korean Rehabilitation Center just mentioned there. It's a big deal in Korea because, again, I heard that gaming is crazy out there, especially in Asia. They got that stereotype for that, which is true. They got mad. They've had tournaments for years, even before
Yeah,
Oh
it's-
man,
the Western
yeah.
it's
side.
massive.
I played online
What's
against some Asian kids, man. They just fucked me up in Street Fighter.
You
hard.
see that? What you just said there?
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. I played with some Asian kids. That's all I hear
Some
whenever I hear the
12-year-old Asian kid.
online stereotype. So anyway, I don't want to draw on about this. I think we're moving into the future. I'm not surprised this is becoming such a big thing. The word disease doesn't seem applicable to me. Maybe I'm just maybe it's semantics to me because it's like disease really, it's not inherent in your blood. It's not, why is disease the right word? Affliction that's the wrong word either. So I don't know. But I do think maybe it does need more attention because we are becoming more of a Ready Player One society where gaming is so, I hate to say ubiquitous, but it is literally in the palm of your hand with a smartphone. I've heard people spending money getting this is just Candy Crush. Forget about these big games.
Yeah.
Just a game like
Yeah,
Candy
yeah.
Crush
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
Tetris or any of these small dungeon boss. I do see this evolving. I understand why it's being called a disease. Personally, I think I'm more of a semantics guy. I don't think it's the right term. Or I don't think
Yeah,
it's
it's
the right
terminology.
It should be
Yeah.
disorder rather than disease. But
I
then,
think disorder is better.
but then maybe I don't know. Maybe if you look at the dictionary definition of disease, maybe it does apply.
I think they're trying to legitimize, not a proper word, legitimize.
Legitimize.
Yeah,
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Stanley.
yeah.
Thank you.
We got there at the end.
They're
Yeah.
trying to thank you. They're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
legitimize
Mm.
this whole problem. And calling it disease actually takes it more seriously. Like if your parents hear this is the disease, they actually like this is serious. Whereas before, maybe if they just called it a disorder, it's kind of
Or
like
affliction.
it's you're
Well,
the problem.
Well, there you go. I mean, it just adds power to it. I mean, some child psychologist can say, "Well, your son's good."
Game addiction disease,
World of
GAD.
Warcraft disease,
What the fuck?
or something stupid like
Wild
that, and
D.
then mum and dad would be like, "Oh my god,"
You know-
throw out the PlayStation, whatever, out the window.
You
It's adding too much power to the word. That's the key point. I'm gonna rarely agree with you guys. So maybe that's where it's going wrong.
You know what? You need to prove that you are a stand-up comedian. I'm going to give you a task as a comedian. You need to think of a comedic
Yeah, yeah.
acronym for this disease.
For this disease. Oh my
You've
god.
got to
you
the
got
end of the
homework.
podcast. I want a comedic acronym for online, because when you said World of Warcraft, I thought WOWD. That sounds.
Think of a comedic acronym.
A comedic
I
acronym.
struggle to spell.
So if your nephew
Let
had
alone-
this disease, you could just give it a light one, like, I don't know, Game on Ice, or what's that, GOI or GAY? What? How do you say gay? No, see, I'm not gonna go there.
We're gonna go
you're
down
not-
that
you're not-
hole,
GAY. Game addiction,
that way.
yay.
What?
Oh, gosh.
I'm gonna back
All
away
right.
from this now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm getting
I'll,
myself in trouble.
I'll think of something
Alright.
ridiculous.
Please leave another message at voiceofmail.com.